Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cutting through all the noise, all the press releases, to give you a curated briefing on the major deals and breakthroughs that are really driving things.
Yeah, and our mission today is to look at a whole batch of fresh announcements. Everything from, massive AI infrastructure projects down to these crucial regulatory milestones, and figure out not just what happened, but why it really matters.
And it seems like there's this common thread, a tension between companies that are building for the future and others that are just scrambling to clean up the past.
Exactly. It's a ruthless expansion on one side, and then this necessary, sometimes really painful cleanup on the other.
We've got a dense mix today. We're talking about how 3.4 gigawatts of power is being pulled together for AI. We'll dissect what a 1 for 3,000 stock split actually means.
Which is not good.
Not good at all. And we'll figure out why a single $300 test could be a complete game changer for about 30 million people. Okay, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
We absolutely have to start with the AI infrastructure boom. I mean, the scale of these projects is just staggering, and it's pulling companies into totally new areas.
Right, like jet.ai, they're jumping into physical infrastructure with a joint venture to build a 50-megawatt data center out in Moapa, Nevada.
And the financial side of this is what really caught my eye. They're talking about a $500 million project value.
They are, but look at the split. It's incredibly leveraged. We're talking $400 million in debt against just $100 million in equity.
Wow.
And jet.ai itself, they only expect to put in about $10 million in capital over the next 2 years.
So for a $10 million commitment, they're getting a piece of a potential $500 million project. That's a lot of risk, but the upside must be huge.
Exactly. If they can get the project to what they call stabilization, build, powered up, tenants moved in, they stand to get about 70% of the common equity. That little $10 million investment could be worth around $25 million. It's a massive bet on execution.
And the location, Moapa, Nevada. Why there?
It's all about low latency connectivity. You get proximity to California and the big southwestern markets, but without the insane power costs and grid bottlenecks you're starting to see on the coast. This is a strategic sweet spot.
Right. And speaking of strategy, Vivo Power is making what looks like a complete pivot.
Oh, it's a huge one. They're going all in on what they're calling the sovereign AI market.
What does that even mean, sovereign AI?
It means they're chasing governments as customers, national governments, highly regulated groups that need their own secure in-country computing power.
Ah, okay.
So Vivo Power is looking at its 682 megawatts of U.S. solar sites, thinking we can sell these and then recycle that cash into these high-growth sovereign markets. We're talking Saudi Arabia, the UAE, parts of Southeast Asia. They want to be the sovereign AI infrastructure landlord.
So they're getting out of the crowded U.S. market to build for governments overseas.
Pretty much. Meanwhile, Cipher Mining is doing the opposite. They're expanding within the U.S.
Right. They just bought that Ulysses site in Ohio, 200 megawatts.
And this is a big deal for them because it's their first major site outside of Texas. It diversifies their risk.
And brings their total development pipeline to, what was it?
3.4 gigawatts.
3.4. Can you just put that number in perspective for us?
You are approaching the power consumption of a large metropolitan area. It's a staggering amount of energy, and it's all aimed at high-performance computing. And that Ohio site gives them access to PJM.
PJM, right. We see that acronym a lot. Why is that so critical?
It's the biggest wholesale electricity market in the country. Spans 13 states. For the kind of always-on, heat-intensive work of AI and HPC, you need access to a massive, stable, reliable grid. PJM is that grid.
So that's the big picture, the power grid level. But we're also seeing moves in edge AI, bringing the processing closer to the device.
Yeah, you've got HiMax and iCatch working on a drone AI solution for CES. The key is that the AI processing happens on the drone itself, real time.
No lag sending data to the cloud and back.
Exactly. It's critical for things like security or aerial photography. And you see the same idea with Roadzen and their DriveBuddy AI platform.
The driver safety system.
Right. It's vision-based, real-time monitoring inside the vehicle. And they claim it's already cut accidents by over 70% in commercial fleets. Plus, it's been validated under European and Indian safety standards, which is a huge stamp of approval.
So if the first half was all about aggressive growth, this next part feels more like corporate hygiene, necessary cleanup.
Yeah, M&A, governance, fixing broken capital structures. It's the less glamorous but absolutely essential side of the business.
Let's start with the big mergers. National Bank Holdings, NBHC, got the final green light for its merger with Vista Bank shares.
Right, that's set to close in January. It adds about $2.5 billion in assets, creating a much larger regional player with around $12.6 billion in total assets. It's all about scale.
And that ties back to our first segment. Dycom Industries bought Power Solutions for $1.63 billion.
Yes, and the interesting thing there is that the deal is expected to boost their EBITDA margin and their earnings per share from day one. It's not just buying revenue, it's buying immediate profitability.
An instant lift. We also saw Sirius Point pick up Assist America.
A classic tuck-in acquisition. Assist America does about $20 million a year in revenue from travel assistance. Sirius Point wants to use them to expand their own subsidiary, IMG, into Asia and the Middle East.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about the less fun part of corporate life. Lawsuits. Cassava Sciences settled a big one.
For $31.25 million. But honestly, the dollar amount isn't the real story here.
It's about removing the distraction?
It's entirely about removing the distraction. They can finally focus 100% on their phase 2 study for Simuflam. That's what really matters for their future.
And we see a similar theme with Compass Minerals, settling a lawsuit that will force them to reform their corporate governance.
Right. The shareholders pushed for better controls, and this is the result. It's becoming a standard cost of doing business. You also saw a D-local transition to a majority independent board.
Yeah, adding some heavy hitters.
Very heavy hitters. Paco Ibarra from Citi, Nelson Matos from Google. When you bring in people like that, you're sending a very loud signal to investors that you're serious about maturing your governance.
Okay, let's get to the really wild stuff. The capital structure cleanup. First, C-Star Medical is doing a 1-for-10 reverse stock split.
Which is pretty standard. You know, their stock fell below $1, so they're doing this to get back in compliance with NASDAQ. Nothing too unusual there.
But then you have Can-Fite Biopharma.
Oh, man. A 1-for-3,000 reverse split.
1 for 3,000. You just don't see that. That feels like a corporate near-death experience.
It is. That ratio tells you the stock price had functionally collapsed to zero. It's an incredibly desperate, heavy-handed move just to stay listed on the exchange. It's a huge red flag.
And finally, Pronatics Global took a different approach to cleaning up its structure. They tackled their warrant overhang. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. A warrant overhang is basically having all these different classes of options to buy stock out there. It creates uncertainty, it represents future dilution, and it pushes the current stock price down.
So they needed to simplify.
Exactly. They got over 83% of the holders to exchange their various warrants for a single new class of warrant. The goal is to cut the total number of outstanding warrants in half, which reduces that long-term dilution risk and just cleans things up. Makes them more investable.
Okay, let's shift to some specific breakthroughs. And this first one in biotech seems huge. Biomerica.
This is a big one. CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, just set a national payment rate of $300 for their in-foods IBS test.
And for anyone listening, why is that specific CMS price so important?
Because it's the benchmark. It's the number they can now take to every single private insurance company and say, this is the government-approved rate. You need to cover this.
So it unlocks the entire private market.
It's the key that unlocks the door. There are 30 million people in the U.S. with IBS. That $300 price point provides the clarity needed for a massive commercial rollout. It's a catalyst.
The huge step. And sticking with health, Organogenesis is moving forward with Reno for knee arthritis.
Yeah, they've started their rolling BLA submission to the FDA. That's the final regulatory hurdle. If this gets approved, Reno would be the first non-surgical biologic therapy for all knee arthritis patients, even the most severe ones.
The ones who are basically told your next step is a knee replacement.
Right. This could completely change that conversation. It's a massive potential market.
And in cancer treatment, Akari Therapeutics is moving ahead with its new ADC program.
AKTX-101. ADCs, or antibody-drug conjugates, are like smart bombs for cancer. This one is interesting because of its payload, a novel pH1 splices modulator. It's a new way of attacking cancer cells, and they're aiming for phase 1 trials in late 2026 or early 2027.
Okay, let's switch gears to digital assets. iPower Inc. is taking a different approach.
They are. They secured $30 million in financing to launch a digital asset treasury. They're going to start holding Bitcoin and Ethereum on their balance sheet.
So not just for speculation.
No. The plan is to integrate them into their actual business. Use them in commerce, in their supply chain. It's a strategic move to treat digital assets like any other financial tool.
Which is a nice contrast to data-centrics, which is proving that pure play mining can still be incredibly profitable.
Absolutely. Their revenue was up 27% quarter over quarter and gross profit up 48%. And that was driven almost entirely by doubling their number of ASIC miners. They're sticking to their knitting, and it's working.
And just a quick look at a couple of innovative products. J-Star Holding launched a carbon fiber electric bike.
The ZMO ER01. One of the first carbon fiber fat tire e-bikes. It's super lightweight, only 27 kilos, gets 100 kilometers of range, and has all the smart app features.
And finally, Versa Systems is partnering with a company called Drinkfinger.
Yeah, they're launching these interactive QR-enabled campaigns. You scan a code on a product and get access to digital rewards and games. It's a smart way to drive real-time customer engagement, and they expect revenue to start kicking in early next year.
So wrapping this all up, it was an intense mix of news, but the theme seems so clear. You have companies making these huge, aggressive bets on the future.
Like Cipher and Vivo Power planning for 3.4 gigawatts of AI power.
Exactly. Or Biomerica finally getting that pricing win that opens up a massive market.
But if you connect that to the bigger picture, you can see the market is just demanding clean, executable strategies.
Yeah.
The price of not being clean is what we saw with the settlements and that brutal can-fight reverse split.
You have to have your house in order to play in these big growth areas.
You really do. Future growth is all about technical integration, but it's also about regulatory and financial clarity. The execution risk is where everything can fall apart.
Well said. All right, we've reviewed today's corporate news. And remember, this is not financial advice, but if you're feeling aggressive, we have an outrageous but plausible trade idea for you, purely for fun.
Let's hear it.
The trade. Go long on Biomerica. The bet is that the clarity from that $300 CMS payment rate acts like a lightning rod, forcing private insurers to adopt coverage way faster than anyone expects. You're betting they tap into that 30 million patient market much quicker in 2026.
And the other side of the trade.
At the same time, you short any small cap company that tries a desperate, massive reverse split like that one for 3,000 we saw. The theory is that such an extreme move isn't a fix. It's a signal of a deep structural rot that a simple cosmetic change to the stock price can't solve.
Good luck to you. Remember, execution is everything.
That was today's deep dive into the latest market news. We hope this gave you the knowledge you need, quickly and thoroughly. We'll talk soon.